Hello, welcome back to my channel. Antoinette here. Let's do a VR. I first watched this, I believe, on Masha's Musings, and I screenshot because my memory is that bad these days. So we have Masha's Musings, and it's a VR from her to at 78 Puertas. And I also watched Kasia at Tarot Maps, and I think I've watched two others do this, but there's been a few tags very similar, and you know what it's like when you're YouTube on a roll, it's just, they kind of merge a little bit, don't they? So that's why I started screenshotting things, and because I'm lazy. People that very kindly write the prompts out help me an awful lot. So it's in my digital journal, and I'm going to go through. So you can see the little plethora of decks here. This is me trying to iron out my working space so that I don't come off camera. And let's have a go and have some fun. These aren't like die-hard, set-in-stone answers, okay? Because it depends which way the wind's blowing, to be perfectly honest, probably most days for me. Some of these are definites, and you'll know that, and I'm sorry for the repeats, but here we go. So prompt number 1 is, what was your very first deck ever? I haven't found it. I don't know what I've done with it. I know I put it in my purgatory box. I call it purgatory box. You know, my box upstairs where I put collector's decks in it as well, so ones I don't use. I'm assuming it's in there, and I forgot to bring it down. So I believe it's called the John D, and it was in a tarot pack. It's the one that it comes in a tuck box. It's very papery. It has images on the pips, or semi-illustrated pips, if you like. So it's a mixture of RWS and pips. I know a lot of people didn't like it because of that problem, but that's the first one that was ever gifted to me by my partner's mother-in-law, mum, not her, no, I don't know, mother-in-law, I think we call it. His dad's second wife, basically. I can't for love nor money think of what that's called, stepmom. Yeah, she gifted me that one when I was 18, and I never used it, but I did buy a deck when I entered the world of tarot myself. So when I wanted to learn tarot, this is the deck I bought for me. And it's the one that I use. The original one that I got at the time was, you know, my first ever purchase. I had no idea there were such things as fakes and whatnots. And it was a fake deck that I bought. I had no clue, because, you know, I was buying online. Didn't have a physical store near me. And let's be frank, what was in them at that time were pants decks. I wouldn't have bought anything out of the shop probably. But this one online I had seen, and I purchased it. Somebody pointed out it was fake. I kind of did a bit of research, learned about it. Slightly embarrassed, but equally as embarrassed for the ignorance of the person pointing out to me, assuming that I would know such a thing. And then I was able to purchase a real one. And yeah, so lesson learned. This is how it goes. But what it did force me to do, of course, because that fake didn't have a little white book in it, so I had to learn how to use the deck. I spent hours transcribing, reading Kindle books on tarot meanings, and making my own cheat sheet basically for this deck. And that was how I learned to read tarot. And as you can see, I keep my extra cards in here. Look at that one. It's coming, it's coming. It's so nearly here. I can't wait. We have those. I'm going to put that one away. So that's prompt 1. Prompt number 2. Which is your most recent tarot deck? This one says tarot deck. I mean, I kind of showed them on my birthday splurge, and it was a bunch of decks all at once. I didn't want to like rip out all the decks, but the Shadowland decks, or the Shadow Art Finds decks from J. Edward Neal, are probably my most recent. But to be fair, the last one that came through the post is this oracle from Amazon. It comes in these 2-part boxes that don't have thumb holes. What's the tea? It's to use for basically what's going on, and it's one of these kind of public domain free art decks, images. with keywords on them, and some kind of prompting words on them as well for keywords. Yeah, I'm just gonna, sorry, my brain is not working today, I'll be quite frank. You've already gathered that, and you don't need me to explain. But yeah, so these ones are quite good. It's a big deck. I think it's 78 cards on this one. Doesn't say. But it was like 17 quid on Amazon. And I purchased a couple of these in my birthday splurge and left this one on my list. So the Cosmic Oracle cards, this is a really good deck. And I have another one of these, the Oracle of Place. 1 second. Which is this one. And there's about 4 more of these that I kind of quite like the look of and dropped onto my wish list. So I decided to purchase this one. So yeah, what's the tea, Oracle? Fake Smiles. My latest deck in. Next is, which tarot deck has the best colours? Okay, there's only one. It's going to be this one. It says best colours. It didn't specify what it means by best colours. So I'm going broad stroke, best colours, use of colours, colourful. So Spectro Whirl, available on Etsy, Pip deck. Just look at the colours, it's so trippy. And everyone goes on about like the tripping Rider-Waite or something. This probably is right up there with it. So I think this is the best colours. Or most colourful. Most elaborately colourful deck that I own. I don't know that I can beat this one, if I'm being very honest. I mean, I have some very colourful decks, but this one is just the vomit of colour on the cards, but in a beautiful way, not in any way meant to be derogatory. So if you want a nice colourful spread, that's the one. It's Pip deck, of course, just to warn you. Number 4, which tarot deck has the best faces? Oh, yep, got that one. So this is the Unfolding Path Tarot by Theda Noctua. This is the Etsy indie version. I don't know if this one was available in her Etsy shop, but this is the original indie version. From a face aspect, she just had lots of different aged, interesting kind of faces, facial expressions. And this one just beats the Lightseers based on the people that are in the deck. So I think, yeah, I don't know that many people would disagree with this one, but she has all ages in here. It's just really cool. You have chromes as well, but I'm probably not going to get you one. But you can just see, like, from their faces, you can just see what's going on. The other one is Poppy Palin's Everyday Tarot. That has some really good facial expressions in it. Let me grab that one. Okay, so the Everyday Enchantment by Poppy Palin also has some amazing faces, facial expressions. You can really see what's going on. Okay, we have Marjorie having a sip of water. Okay, so I think this one has some really great facial expressions as well. And that kind of age diversity that people are always looking for. And so it's very animated, actually. Yeah, it's very animated. This is probably more animated than the Unfolding Path, but the Unfolding Path is the first one that came to mind, so I went with that one. Okay, number 5. Which is my largest tarot deck? I've got 2 here. I'm not sure. We're going to do it on camera. So the art edition of Serpent and Peacock, which is still available, a few copies left from Libra Moon's shop. And we have this one. I think it's going to be this one, but this one, I guess, because it's most recently used, came to mind as one of my larger tarot decks. But now that I'm looking, I think I'm completely yeah. It's Julia Kusher-Watts's deck. Hands down. It's just massive. It's so big though, that's the problem with this one. Like I found this one slightly, because it's a thick deck, trying to get my hands around the whole deck to shuffle. I found this one a little bit more difficult. And this one, I can just about get my hands around it the normal way up, because let's have a look. It's almost about the width of a tarot deck as it sits. So yeah, so I brought those two down for my biggest tarot decks. I'm well aware everyone goes for the Alchemical Visions Tarot. I don't own that one because it's so big and I wouldn't use it, but it's a deck I wouldn't mind owning for from the perspective of a study. So we have those. Number 6. Which is your smallest tarot deck? It's this one. So it's the 23 Majors Arcana Mini from the Triumphs Tarot. Look at these, they're so dinky. It's like a matchbox size. It's that small. And these cards are gorgeous. Based on Thoth. For anyone who's looking and wondering what on earth I'm showing you. So it is the, yeah, there's an extra card in there as well, like the Chaos card. So it's really, that's why it's 23 cards. And it is the Triumphs Tarot. Let me just find the, also you've got like your cards that you can use for yes, no's in the deck. Then you get your how to read the cards. And this is illustrated by Scott Toxic under direction of Barak Gazlam Ali. Doesn't tell you. This was my only thing actually with this fabulous creator, is you can never find. So I think normally I type in Triumphs Tarot Pip Parade and it comes up on Etsy. I think that's normally how I find the links to this. So there you go. So that's my smallest deck. Which tarot deck has the best court cards? Oh, I know. I don't have this deck, but if you all head over to Make Playing Cards and type in Good Journeys Tarot by Rosemary Harrington, she has a series on YouTube where she designed the deck, started putting a deck together, and her design of court cards and her renamings for the court cards was really clever, and I really enjoyed it because it didn't have, you couldn't see faces, races and things. It was just shapes, images, silhouettes, and I loved that about the way she did the deck. So it's currently on my Make Playing Cards wish list, and it'll probably be in my next order that comes through from them. So yeah, go over there and have a look at that one. For instance, my favourite court card was the Front Man, and I think that was her King of Wands, because it's been a year since I watched her videos. And yeah, that just gave me King of Wand vibes, just the way she designed the card, the name, it was just right there. Yes, the person that's full of the charisma or full of their self and ego up on stage, being like the big I am, look at me. So rock star mentality. So that's, I think, some of my favourite court cards and the way she's renamed them. Which is my most worn out tarot deck. I don't wear out my tarot decks, she says. But which one's this one? The illustrated pips, it's this one. So it's the Triomphe della Luna Rose Paradoxical Marseille edition with the pips. I think you can see there just how battered it is on the edges. If we're going to say worn out, but my most used tarot deck. It's just beautiful. I love it. So this was 2nd edition TDL. And then I've just put that one there for people who need an illustrated pip card. I still prefer the Marseille version. I was going to mash them up a bit. I was going to pull out my favourite illustrated pips from here and mix them into here, and then, you know, work with it that way. But I never got around to doing it. So there's those. Then we have number 9, which is your most esoteric deck. I mean, it's no surprise. So many people have mentioned this one. Tower of Holy Light. No, I haven't cut my borders off. Yes, I'm writing on my borders because it's such a complicated deck. When I was pulling my cards for the day and reading the book that goes with this, which is huge, I started writing information on the borders. And actually, this is something I will probably continue to do with decks that have borders that come in a different style, different, you know, setting that needs a bit more study, because I have so many decks. When I run through them and I come back to them again, it's like I have to restudy them. So it's just easier if I can like study them while I'm using them, put my information on, and then keep going. So yeah, Tower of Holy Light by Christine Payne Towler, but it's available at norabrown.com, I believe is the website. norabrownfield.com. So that one. What tarot deck is the best one for shadow work? Any, but specifically for me, it worked out to be this one because of the book. And it's remained so. It's a lovely little book, but the readings in there kind of hit home a bit. So 3 of Pentacles, upright, we've got collaboration, learning. So like the Cardinal, you have a strong voice. Your direction is clear. You are secure enough in your beliefs to take advice and criticism from others. An outside view can lead to new ideas, but in the reverse, your reluctance to listen to new ideas may be having a negative impact on your progress. So something about how he reads the cards and how he put the reverses in were the bits where it really like shoved me when it came to shadow work. So this one has remained a deck that I probably only really pull it out for that if I'm being very fair. So it's one of the very few decks that have a set meaning in my collection, but I would still read it for other things. However, as many have pointed out, the images are difficult to link. So you really do need to sit with this one if you're going to do that and spend time associating images to what's going on. Because here we have the 2 of Cups. So we have a relationship, but we have a mother-daughter kind of relationship is how I see this card. So yeah, how you see the cards. So it's very subjective because it's very different artwork. So it's a Marmite deck for many. Oh, what tarot deck has the best back designs? I've got 2. One is a duck soup deck. Are you ready? Oh my god, these are so cool. That's my back design on it doesn't even tell what deck it's called. So that's my back. I can't, is it the trick? I can't remember if this is a trick or treat. Oh, there we are. The trick or tarot deck. But these are my backs. Oh, they are just so hilarious. I just freaking love these. Look. Perfect. But this is the trick or tarot deck that some of you may be familiar with. And I know many of you just personify these types of decks and stick them in your Halloween box. But we'll come to that later. What a beautiful deck. It's still in order because I was going to do a flip through because this prompted me with the backs, but I haven't got there. And the one that started my love affair for backs, so the deck that actually I realised backs could be beautiful, and then I started looking for decks with beautiful backs only, is this one. Look, these still make me smile so much. They just make me so happy. This back is gorgeous. It also reminds me of some of the pop-up books that I've talked about lately in the hashtag picture book decks. Has that feel about it with the different layers of paperwork. So yeah, this is by far, it's always going to be there. I'm never going to be able to say anything different I think about this deck. They are just, but my Trick or Tarot from Duck Soup is a close second because they're just humorous. They make me laugh. Love them. What tarot deck has the best card stock? So I've put two down, Mass Market and a Make Playing Cards deck. One I put down the Zany Tarot just because I was picking, okay? So most of my decks have a reasonable card stock. I'm not a true card stock snob. I just don't like completely papery tarot decks like the Tower of Transformation. But this one, so when you do this, I like that sound, love that sound, but it feels like a hefty deck. So the Zany Tarot, sorry, from Make Playing Cards, from Zane Hughes. This feels, it's very pop culture-esque, but it feels like it's a Make Playing Cards cardstock. It felt, I wasn't sure, I thought it was maybe completely plastic, so therefore I thought I might be safe with it, but I really don't think it is. I think it's got like a good plastic coating on both sides, but there's definitely a paper that's showing in the middle. But that noise, you don't get that with too many decks, I've noticed. It's a specific tone to the noise that I like with that one. So I've put that one down. And the other one from a mass market perspective is the Tweeting Macabre Tarot. Because it's a mass market, it was the first one that I was like, oh, this noise, hear this noise? Hear the noise? That noise. That is, for me, and it just slips and slides beautifully. That was the best cardstock that I think I've got, because it's the size, everything. The Star Tarot is very similar, but it's a bigger card, harder to hold. So this one kind of hit the card size stock thing from a mass market perspective and production. It really kind of got me happy vibes. And then we have, what tarot deck has the best soft silky touch? I don't understand what that question's asking me, if I'm being very honest. I mean, Duck Soup. It's laminated linen. Is that what you mean by soft? It's flexible? Or do you mean coated like Serpent and Peacock? Oops. Which has like, I don't know what they call this, people calling it like the buttery coating. The soft. I don't quite fully understand what you're asking on that question. So there we go. What tarot deck has the best sound when you shuffle it? 14. The Macabre Tarot. I've shuffled it, so I've shown you. Number 15. Which of your tarot decks is the most misunderstood? Oh, I must have put something out of that. I did. That's why I brought these down. Deviant Moons decks, most misunderstood, I think, by majority of the population out there. And then anything that is being personified for an occasion is my kind of feeling on this. So people who are just buying a deck because it's spooky season, Halloween only, the Seasons of the Witch stuff, but they're Oracle decks, so let's not get into those. So for people who are just buying these types of decks to use at Halloween, I think it's a shame to the creator and the deck, because any deck can use it any time of the year. But I understand. I completely understand. But I do think it's a shame when, you buy a beautiful deck like the Trick or Tarot and you only use it for 2-3 times a year. I think that is a shame on both aspects. So, yeah. Which of your tarot decks is most... We've done that one. Which is your most ancient tarot deck or most historical? Okay, so I've gone with my oldest personal deck, and that is the first version of the Elemental Tarot. It's not the one that I had first, but it is the oldest, and it is clearly the most beat up deck ever. It was well loved by its previous owner, that's all I can say. I just love this little book. So 1989 is this one. So that is my oldest deck in my collection, because the John Dee Tarot wasn't given to me till 1995, I think, 95. I think it came out in 94, so that would otherwise have been my oldest prior to this one. Which tarot deck was the most surprising for good or bad reasons? Number 17. Okay, so this one sort of answers a few questions. So I'm going to bring in the Star Tarot by Kathy McClelland. Good reasons. Bad reasons, they were too big. I had to trim them down. I wasn't expecting quite such a oversized tarot deck, so I did have to take off the tops and bottoms and then re-edge them to try and match in, because they're gold gilded. But for all the good reasons was this deck, I bought it because I thought it was a beautiful coloured deck. I didn't know much more about it other than that. I just really like the colours. I love the sun and the Knight of Cups and things. And then when I got it and actually started looking at it, realising that it was a fusion, so kind of Rider-Waite mixed with some Thoth-based imagery, mixed with some other elements like shamanism. And I loved that about this deck. That was like, oh my God, people are actually making fusion decks. Because I'm a visual, so I just usually go straight off site. I don't look into it. I don't research it. Of course I don't. I'm a Gemini. I just look at it and think, yeah, that's up my alley. I'll take that. And then, once I've used it, worn it out, get rid of it or move on, or keep it because I absolutely love it, or buy another 3 because I love them. So this was this deck, and this again, as I said, has that great card stock from a mass market production perspective. So 10 out of 10 for that one with this deck. But I think that is an amazing thing. So the guidebook, of course, is where it's at with this. For people who've just wondered about everything I've said, this is where you come to get that information. So this guidebook and the Tarot of Vampires, or the Vampire Tarot, the original one, are 2 amazing guidebooks to read. So yeah, so we have the Star Tarot. Which tarot deck has the best purchase story? Okay, so when I want a tarot deck, I work hard, I save, I swoon over the deck, I purchase it at the end. Number 19. Which tarot deck do you always use for self readings? Well, most of my readings these days are for self. I haven't done reading for other people for a couple of years now. I do miss reading for other people, but maybe I'll get back into it, who knows. So it's the Bone, Stone and Earth Flesh. I use it for a couple of people, but only people that I knew well. But most of the time, this is for me. And it's Anatolia's artwork. We're all very familiar with this. Waiting with bated breath for the mass market version of this, which won't be the same, but I'm waiting to see. I'd like to see the new cards. The world card is just, oh, yes, can't wait. So this one is for me. And when the mass market comes out, who knows? It might be retired to my box for collection, or this one may still remain the one that I use, because this one got blessed. I blessed this one. I made oils, all sorts, did candle ritual to use this deck. So it does have a lot of time and energy put into it to read with. This one. Number 20. Which was the most difficult tarot deck to be mastered? Well, personally, I think this depends on how complicated you want to make reading a deck. Does that make sense? You know, how esoteric do you want to make the deck? How basic do you want to make the deck? Sorry. Marseille. I mean, this is a gorgeous deck. Should be taken out of books. This is a gorgeous deck. This has got great cardstock as well, but I still don't know that it hits that strange soft touch thing. But yeah, look at this. I mean, you can read the Marseille in the traditional colours, or you can read the Marseille as it comes like this. I don't like the traditional coloured decks, and I don't read the Marseille to the T, as in it's got this much green on it, this much yellow on it, it means this, it means that. That's not. So perhaps I read a Marseille deck, as I'm calling it, a modern Marseille deck in a pip style. I don't care. But yeah, so it does, like I say, it depends how complicated you want to make things, how esoteric do you want to go, how much Kabbalah do you want to put into a deck. There is no right or wrong for this question. I don't think. But that's kind of, it's just really how challenging you want it to be. It's a 78 card system. The basics are universal. How much do you want to like cut people out of your universe when you're putting it on the market for people to buy? And how many people want to gatekeep the tarot? Actually, that's quite scary. That's another question for another day. And then, what tarot deck is the best overall? You've had my answers. I like fusion decks. So the one that merges pips, colours, illustrations, esoterica. So really probably more Thoth based decks than just an RWS based deck, unless you're going to fusion it like the Star Tarot. So this has beautiful colours, it has pips, it has illustrations, it has quartz. There's a lot more hidden in this deck than you probably need to know. Or if you want to dive straight into it, go into it, because I think it was Natalia who said that you can overread a deck sometimes and miss the entire meaning of the card sat in front of you. Or you can shallow read. So that's why when I'm reading for myself, I will often, I use a simple system, and I will often pull the book out to read for myself. But like I say, it does depend how complicated you want to make it. But I think decks that do some fusion that you can use for different aspects. So this is the bigger version of my mini deck. And it's the full deck. So the triumphs and the pip parade. So you've got bigger cards telling you how to use the deck. You've got your jokers. And here's the pip style in it. So it is merged pip style with the illustrated majors, and our quartz look like this. And I can split this deck up and I can use it for other things. So this deck I think is fantastic for that. And the other one that I think, again, in the same kind of vein, is the Keymaster Tarot. Again, another beautiful production, gorgeous cardstock. It's got some gilding in it. But it's a more standard, traditional, if you like, as people call it. I think everyone's now referring to the RWS as traditional. So it has a more RWS appearance to the court cards and the majors, and then back to some beautiful pip cards for the rest of the deck. So there's your Knight of Queens. So yeah, I think just a beautiful deck. You know, actually, just realising now I've got so many decks in my cupboard that these are only making it around probably once every 2 years. That's quite bad. That's a shame. So there we go. Those are my decks. What are your decks? What are you reading? What do you think? Do you have any of these? Did you agree with them? What ones were you expecting me to pull out, by the way? BTW. What were you expecting me to pull out? Probably these, I'd imagine, because if you've been watching, you know that these are my decks. I did try to pull out some other things. Look, I have tried to be a bit more, but yeah, these ones sit in my cupboard as those. These will always answer probably those questions. Shocking, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Until the next one, take care. Bye-bye.